Hello everyone, I am Kinsuk Parasar and I welcome you all to StudyIQ platform. We have been discussing some of the chapters of Science and Technology book. We have discussed so far about some chapters like cell, the basic components of cell. We have talked about biomolecules, tissues of the living beings. We have talked about the systems of human body. There we have talked about the immune system, the reproductive systems, the pro-nuclear transfer technology and the related aspects of it. Then we have started our discussion on the 5th chapter of this book, that is diseases. Okay. So in this disease chapter, we have talked about certain aspects like what are the different microbes which are responsible for it. In the previous sessions, we have talked about the bacterial diseases, the viral diseases, the diseases due to protozoa or fungal diseases. Okay. Now, we have also talked about one of the very important topic for the mains examination, that is antimicrobial resistance. Okay. So that is one more aspect which we have covered. Now in this session, we are going to talk about two very important topics, two very important diseases which have a very higher burden globally. One is cancer and the second one is AIDS. So we are going to see that what are the factors which are responsible behind these diseases and in what manner it develops. Okay. I am Kinsuk Parasar and you can follow me on Telegram using this handle. Okay. So let us start our discussion on the cancer and the AIDS. Okay. So see, if we talk about cancer, let us look at some of the figures to understand what is the extent of this disease. Okay. As per the World Health Organization, cancer ranks as the second leading cause of death on a global scale. Okay. Now, can you tell me what is the leading cause of death in globally? Okay. Cancer is the second leading disease. Can you answer me which is the first major cause of death globally? That is a question for you. You can mention the answer in the comment box. Okay. Now see, in 2018, there were approximately 18 million reported cancer cases worldwide, with a significant portion of 1.5 million cases occurring in India alone. Okay. So we have around 15 lakh cases annually. Around 15 lakh cases are annually there in India of cancer. At the same time, there has been death of approximately 0.8 million people in India in 2019. If we look at the global figure, globally around 90 lakh people die every year due to cancer. Okay. So this is the extent of the disease. You can understand that how much complex it is, how much devastating this disease is. Okay. So let us try to understand that what are the different type of diseases, what are the different type of cancer which is prevalent among males as well as females. So if we talk about males, the majority portion of the cancer is occurring in lungs, followed by mouth and prostate. Okay. So they are the three major cancer which is occurring in male. If we talk about the female, in female, then breast cancer is the leading cancer, followed by cervix and ovary cancer. Okay. So they are the three major types of cancer occurring in female. And then in the male, we have seen lung, mouth and prostate cancer are the three major or leading cancer in globally. Okay. So see, this we are talking about India in 2022. Okay. Now let us see that how actually this cancer develops. What is the leading cause or how this cancer comes into picture? Now to understand this, you have to first understand our body is made up of trillions of cells. Our body is made up of trillions of cells, and these cells, they have to continuously divide in order to replace the older cells or to replace the damaged cells. Okay. So if there is any damaged or old cells, they have to be replaced. And for this purpose, the cells of our body are undergoing continuous division. Okay. There is millions of division of cells in our body on regular basis, on daily basis. So trillions of cells are dividing. Okay. We have trillions of cells and many of them are dividing on regular basis. So now see, most of the time, these divisions are perfect. Like you know that if we look at any cell, it replicates itself into two identical daughter cells, okay, having the same number of chromosomes and all. Okay. So normally when a cell divides, it creates two identical daughter cells. That is a normal process of cell division. So that is something which occurs in humans as well. Okay. In humans also, the cells divide and produce two identical daughter cells. So most of the time, this is a perfect identical cell which is created. There is no any defect in it. Okay. But see, let us say by chance, there is one such situation in which there has been a defect in this cell division. Like instead of creating two healthy cells, let us say that two unhealthy cells or two defective cells have been created. Okay. So now see, our body, we have discussed this in immune system, that how our body reacts. If it finds something which is outsider, then it tries to eliminate that. So suppose that if a defective cell has been created in our body, now in majority of the cases, what will happen that our immune system will try to remove these two cells from the body. Okay. They will try to eliminate that. So in general, if there is any such defect in the division process, the immune system comes into picture and it removes it. But let us say that at a particular time, let us say that there has been creation of a defective cell and the immune system failed to recognize it. Immune system was not able to recognize it. Or our immune system considered that this is a healthy cell. This is not a threat to body. This is an insider cell. Now in that case, what would happen? Now this cell, this defective cell is present inside the body now. So this defective cell will now start to multiply. It will start to create many more defective cells inside the body. Okay. See one more thing. Our brain, our immune system controls the division of different cells in the body. Our body cells divide as per the requirement. But this defective cell, it is now outside the ambit of our immune system. It is outside the ambit of our brain. Our body is not recognizing it. Okay. So first of all, what we have seen it, that it has got a mutation, means there is some defect. Now this defect might have been caused due to the change in DNA. It may occur due to exposure to chemicals, radiation, or just by chance. Okay. Like here we have assumed it happened just by chance. So first thing, there was a mutation, there was a defect in our genetic material. Okay. Now this defect, it has not been recognized. It has not been detected by the immune system. So the next step will be uncontrolled growth. Now this cell, these cells will start to grow at a rapid rate. They will not stop dividing. They will be creating tissues there. Okay. So now what they will do, they will make tissues. They will result in formation of lumps or tissues inside the body, and then they will start to invade the nearby tissues. Suppose that if you look at our organ system, if you look at the human anatomy, you will find that it is very much closely packed. Okay. Like look at the problem. We have just seen that lungs cancer is one of the major cancer in male in India. Now suppose that if there is development of any such cancerous cell near the lungs, what would happen? It will create some additional lump, it will create some additional tissue, and it will try to invade, it will try to obstruct the nearby tissues, the nearby cells, the nearby organs. So what will happen? It will start damaging the nearby organs and tissues, because now it has invaded an area. Our body was closely packed, and in that a new tissue has been formed. Okay. It is like we have got a limited amount of space here, and suppose that in this space a new tissue has started to grow here, and when this tissue is expanding, it will create pressure on all the nearby tissues, all the nearby cells, all the nearby organs. It will start to invade them, it will start to damage them. Suppose that something is growing near the lungs of any person, So what would happen? Now the lungs will not be having the proper space in order to, like during the inhalation process, the lung has to expand. But now it is being blocked by that tissue. So it will not be properly expanding. It will get damaged. So that is one thing which may happen here. And here there is resultant or creation of tumor. This tissue is what we call as tumor. Okay. But this doesn't stop here. Now see, there is another important part. Okay. It may form here benign tumor. Now benign tumor is mostly concentrated in one part of the body. It doesn't usually travels to other part of the body. So it is still something which can be treated, which can be removed from the body, or which can be controlled. But then there is another process which is called as metastasis. Okay. And what happens that now the cancer cells start getting transferred to other part of the body through the fluids, through the limbs. It starts to distribute throughout the body. It will go to the other parts of the body, and then it can form new tumors at those places. So the cancer cells, they have the ability to spread to the other parts of the body. And that's why also sometimes the name cancer cell itself indicates that they're spreading throughout the body. Cancer cells are spreading cells. They spread throughout the body. Okay. So that is the next process. Now they will go to the different parts of the body. The cells will travel to all the other parts of the body and they will form tumors over there. Okay. So that is the next stage. And then once they have developed throughout the body, once they have developed various tumors at the body, now they will start to interfere with the normal functioning of the body. Here itself, we have seen it has started damaging some organs. Now it has spread to multiple body parts and it will start to interfere with the normal functioning of the body. In cancer patients, you might have heard this, that many of the cancer patients die due to multiple organ failure. Why? Because the cancer cell has spread to the different part of the body and now it has impacted the functioning of various organs of the body. So this is something which creates too much pain for the person who is suffering from cancer. The organs are not functioning properly. There is so much pain through which they are going. Okay. Like suppose that if you have a simple wear or tear on your muscles, if you have simply lifted something heavy, your muscles have got stretched, then also you feel some problem. Think about those persons whose internal organs have been impacted, like lungs is impacted, like the kidney is impacted or other portions of body is impacted. It becomes so much painful for them. Cancer is not just resulting in death of the person, it even kills the person when the person is still alive. It kills that, what you can say, the motivation of the person. It kills the spirit of the person and it is very much painful disease also. Okay. Now, what are the methods of treatment of this cancer? See, one of the steps is surgery. Okay. Sometimes the tumors, they can be simply removed from the body, like solid tumors, if they are occurring near the breast, lung or colon, they can be removed from there. In case of benign tumor, they can be removed from there. There is another method which is called as radiation therapy. Here basically high energy rays are used to target and kill cancer cells. But of course there is a risk that it can kill the nearby healthy cells as well. Okay. So that is the main problem with this cancer problem. Our immune system has failed. Our immune system has not recognized it as an invader, as a foreign cell. So immune system is not giving any support. And when we try to kill it from outside, suppose radiation is used, there is always a chance that it can damage the nearby cells. It can cause mutation in other cells of the body also. So that is also one of the associated risks of the radiation therapy. Then chemotherapy. Basically here there is use of powerful drugs or chemicals in order to kill or slow down the cancer cells. Their growth is being slowed down in case of chemotherapy. Okay. Then we have also got targeted therapy. Okay. Now there are certain drugs which can specifically target certain molecules which are involved in cancer growth. Okay. So targeted drugs are targeting those molecules which help in the growth of the cancer cell, and thus they minimize the damage to healthy cells. In the others, there can be huge damage to the healthy cells, but in targeted therapy, there is lesser chances of damage to the healthy cells of the body. Then there is also immunotherapy. Now, what is the aim here? It aims to boost the body's immune system in order to help it to recognize the cancer cells. It is trying to remind the immune system that you might have forgotten there is a cancer cell inside the body which is destroying the body, which is harming the organs of the body. Okay, so that is the immunotherapy. Then there is also a hormone therapy. Basically, it is used for hormone-related cancers. Okay, and it blocks or reduces those hormones that fuel the growth of the cancer cells or the tumors which are there. Okay, there is a new thing which has also evolved, and that is the stem cell transplant. Okay, now this is something which is used for certain of the blood cancers, and in this case, what is done? The damaged bone marrow is replaced with healthy stem cells so that new blood cells can be created by the bone marrow. Okay. So damaged bone marrow is being replaced by the healthy stem cells in the body. So that is a stem cell transplant which is also being performed to treat cancer. But you know that cancer still largely remains an untreatable disease. Yes, it is possible. Many people have got the cure. Many people have recovered from it, but it is still not very much common. Still, a large number of people are dying from cancer. First of all, even the detection of cancer takes a longer period of time in various parts of India, and that leads to the spread of cancer cells in all the body parts. So that is one of the major challenges with cancer. Okay. The next deadly disease is HIV AIDS. Okay. HIV is basically human immunodeficiency virus. This is a retrovirus. Okay. And this virus is responsible for causing a disease which is called as acquired immune deficiency syndrome. Okay. Basically, it is a combination of various symptoms, hence called as a syndrome. Okay. Now the question is, what is a retrovirus? Retrovirus is basically a virus which uses RNA, that is ribonucleic acid, as its genetic material instead of DNA, that is deoxyribonucleic acid. When we were discussing about the microbes, we have seen that viruses can be having single-strand RNA, they can have double-strand RNA, they can have single-strand DNA or double-strand DNA. We have discussed about it in the chapters over the microbes. In this chapter only, in this beginning of this chapter only, chapter 5, we have talked about the viruses. Okay. So, retrovirus are those viruses which are using RNA as their genetic material. Okay. And these retrovirus, they have the ability to convert their RNA into DNA once they infect a host cell. When they have entered into a cell, they have this ability to convert their RNA into DNA. Now, this human immune deficiency virus, what it does? Basically, when it enters inside our body, it targets and destroys a specific type of white blood cell, that is T cells. In our immune system, we have discussed there are two types of cell in our body, T cells and B cells. B cells are responsible for creating antibodies, whereas T cells are responsible for triggering the release of antibodies. Okay. They are helping our body to fight against various diseases, various problems. They are the main guards of our immune system. And this HIV virus, this human immunodeficiency virus, attacks the T cell itself. Okay. So, they enter inside the T cell, they replicate themselves, and they lead to damage to the T cells. First of all, see, on one hand, they are damaging the T cells. On the other hand, they are invading the T cells in order to replicate themselves. Means they are creating more such viruses inside our body. So it leads to the further damage to our immune system. Okay. Now, if a person is having this HIV, okay, and if the person is untreated, how many days the person can survive? See, if a person is having this HIV, okay, this here we are talking about AIDS or HIV, okay, so then he can survive from 9 to 11 years depending upon the type of this virus. Okay, if a person has been infected with this HIV or AIDS and HIV and he has been untreated, if the person has been untreated, then the person may survive for around 9 to 11 years depending upon the variant of the HIV. Okay, so it is something which takes a longer period of time in order to kill the person. But again, the process is very much deadly, it is very much painful. Okay. Now, what is the mode of transmission? How this human immunodeficiency virus is getting transmitted? Okay. So here the factors are the body fluids. The body fluids are the source of contamination or source of transfer or transmission of this HIV. Okay. Here it can be blood, it can be breast milk, it can be the vaginal fluid, or it can be the semen. They become the source of transfer of the HIV virus. Okay. So through these methods, it is getting transferred to the other body organs. It can transfer through blood, it can get transferred through breast milk, the vaginal fluid, or it can get transferred through the semen. Okay. So they are the mode of transfer of or transmission of human immunodeficiency virus, HIV. Okay. Now, how does this work? How this proceeds? First of all, if we talk about the initial infection, it causes flu-like symptoms within 2 to 4 weeks after exposure. If a person has been exposed with HIV, they are going to have flu-like symptoms for 2 to 4 weeks. Okay. So this is the first thing. Initial infection is in this form. But then it goes into a phase of clinical latency. Okay. And the virus, it continues to replicate, but at lower levels, and it happens over many years. It takes 7, 8, 9 years in order to fully replicate in the body, in order to fully grow and develop inside the body. And in that phase, it remains in a latent phase. It remains in a silent phase. Okay. It remains in a silent phase. Okay. So that is one of the major problems, that many people who are having this HIV infection inside them, they might not realize that they are infected with it. Okay. And then, if this HIV is left untreated, means if the person is not getting treated, then it progresses to AIDS, which is acquired immune deficiency syndrome. And what happens there? The immune system weakens. Immune system is very much weakened in this case. Okay. Here, the T blood cells, if we talk about the normal person, if we talk about a person who is not infected with this HIV, their T cell count is normally 500 to 1400 T cells per microliters. But if we talk about a person who is having AIDS or who is infected with this HIV, okay, if they have developed AIDS, then their T cell counts reduces to below 200 cells per microliter. So the T cells concentration is very much down. Okay. And in this case, if it is going below 200 cells, then it is considered as a mark that now the person has got the disease. We have talked about infection and disease. Infection is simply attacking by a pathogen. Okay. But then when it starts to harm the body, when the body's functioning has been impacted, we call that a disease. So HIV infection over a period of time leads to a disease which is called as AIDS, acquired immune deficiency syndrome. Okay. Then, now as a result of this AIDS, now the person is having very weak system. The HIV has destroyed the CD4 T cells. Okay. T cells are also called as CD4 T cells. And due to this, the system has become weak. Now this weakness is going to be exploited by some other pathogens. So now there can be causes like opportunistic infections and diseases. the immune system is weaker now. Okay. So HIV/AIDS is not directly killing the person. They are now letting the smaller infections, smaller problems becoming a major problem here. In the last session, we have discussed about this one, like in case of malaria. We have seen that if a person is infected with HIV, then malaria can become life-threatening also. In normal cases, we see that malaria is easily treatable. But if a person is infected with HIV, if the person has got this AIDS, now their immune system has become so much weaker that even malaria-like problem can create life-threatening conditions for them. Okay. So opportunistic infections and diseases become prominent now. They get this opportunity that the system is weak, they can attack now, they can overcome the immune system. And problems like pneumonia, tuberculosis, cancer, they all can develop. Think about this. A person is having AIDS, immune system is already weaker. Now he is having more chances of development of cancer. So AIDS can also lead to development of cancer in the body as well. Okay. So this is the final stage where a person is not dying simply from AIDS. A person is dying from a disease, like simple disease like pneumonia, malaria, or etc. Okay. And why this has happened? Because the body has not been able to fight these smaller diseases. The body's immune system has become weaker. It cannot fight these simple infections, and due to which the person may die. Okay. So AIDS directly doesn't kill. It creates the condition where the other smaller infection can kill the person. Okay. Now, if we talk about the treatment method, what are the treatment method? We have basically got antiretroviral therapy, ART therapy. You might have seen at various posters of government that ART therapy is being prescribed. So what exactly is this ART therapy? Okay. Basically, it is the daily use of a combination of HIV medicines. Okay. It is a daily use of combination of medicines which reduces or suppresses the growth of HIV. The virus is being suppressed or contained. Okay. But keep one thing in mind. ART can help in saving the life, but it cannot cure the HIV. It is just delaying the process. It is just making it possible to extend the life of the person. But so far, treatment of AIDS is still a distant goal. Okay. So, if the person is having this ART, okay, so ART, what it does, it reduces the amount of HIV in the body. The virus load is being reduced in the body. At the same time, HIV transmission risk is also getting reduced in the body. Okay. At the same time, it prevents the HIV from advancing to AIDS. Means the T cells, their reduction is now being properly monitored. The HIV load is getting reduced, so the development of AIDS may get delayed or prevented as well. Okay. Then, it protects the immune system and prolongs the life expectancy to the near normal condition. Okay. So here again, it is near normal. Okay. It is near normal condition, not the normal condition. So if a person is developing HIV, if a person has been infected with HIV, then in that case, the person is again, it is very challenging to recover from there. It is very challenging to lead a normal life also sometimes. Okay. The person is continuously dependent on medicine. Okay. So that is one of the major challenge. This ART is basically helping in suppressing the viral replication, reduced viral load, and preserving immune system. Okay. There is basically a combination of medicines or a cocktail of medicine, also called as HIV cocktail or HIV regimen, which is being provided to the persons who are infected with HIV. Okay. So that is the ART therapy which is being used for prevention of development of AIDS, not the treatment of HIV problem. Okay. So they were the two major diseases that we have to discuss in chapter 5. We have seen what causes cancer, what are the factors which are leading to cancer, what steps or what treatments are available. cancer is still something which is treatable in the present times. Whereas if we talk about HIV infection and development of AIDS, then it still remains a distant goal. Okay. So they are two of the major killers in the present era. Okay. In the next upcoming sessions, we will be discussing more such chapters of science and technology book. Thank you everyone.